can take a sunrise, sprinkle it with you.
What's up, everyone? This is Jillian here, and it is week 12 of my sugar-free year. This week I tried making sugar-free macaroons. It was an unfortunate experiment that ended with a trash can full of broken cookies and broken dreams. So things started off well enough. I got the Swerve sugar, which is the keto approved sugar, and it's supposed to be a 1-to-1 ratio with regular sugar, so you don't really have to change the recipe for things that call for sugar and like figure out how much of the Swerve sugar. As much as I tried to find recipes that actually were intended for Swerve, they don't really exist all that much, so I just decided to go with a recipe I found that was for regular sugar and just sub it out myself, not realizing all the pain and sadness that choice would cause me. Everything with the bake was going really well, I thought. I had my egg whites, you know, separated, doing that thing, and I was getting the stiff peaks out of the egg whites. Made me feel really cool because I was like spinning that around like KitchenAid. I decided to make raspberry lemon macaroons because I really love that flavor combination. So I even had some fresh lemon juice squeezed into like the batter. And since I work at a macaroon bakery, I, been able to like spy on some techniques that are, generally the technique of making macaroons, but you slam or you like hit the pans to kind of flatten out the cookies and get all the air bubbles out of them, so like that's that bake that you want on like a good full size like macaroon that's like got that air to it. It's got that height to it, I should say. They're not just flat little things. So I was really feeling pretty confident at this point. I'd baked them all out, I'd hit the pans. Another thing you do is like you let them sit out for like 30 minutes to dry on the counter before you even bake them. I can't remember exactly what that does, but like there's a chart where it like shows you what happens if you don't do that versus like doing that. And they do look different, but I left them out on the counter, and you touch them to make sure that there's like no stickiness to them and stuff, and we were good to go. So they went into the oven, and now was the time that I would start to do the cream filling. Oh, but wait, did I mention that I forgot to buy parchment paper? I forgot to buy the parchment paper before I even started the baking, so technically I really could have gone to get the parchment paper, and I didn't because my laziness and my zero desire to go outside really prevailed, and that is my Achilles heel, as we all well know now for sure, but we'll come back to that. Just wait. So I got started on the cream filling. So it was like the raspberries, so I had like my butter all whipped up and pureed raspberries like strained through like a little strainer, like perfectly like acceptable for texture freak over here, no seeds or anything like that in it, and a little bit more of the lemon juice, and the fake sugar, a lot of fake sugar. I was taste testing throughout. Nothing really stuck out to me. That didn't make sense. Nothing ever really stood out to me that was like a red flag, or nothing tasted too aggressive or anything like that. So I was kind of just like, okay, cool, like maybe this is gonna work. Maybe this will be like the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life, because I can have macaroons at home without real sugar in them. That was the dream. So I got the cookies out of the oven, and they were all definitely a little brown around the edges, more so than you would see like in a bakery. I'm pretty positive that I have one of those ovens that just is never right and is never actually at the right temperature. I know I need to buy like a little thermometer to place inside the oven, but I was just really trying to like go for it without having to be the most prepared, thinking like surely this can't be, like if a few things are a little off, surely it can't be the worst thing ever, right? They're still gonna taste good. So remember the parchment paper that I talked about? Yeah. So it turns out But that's probably the most important thing you should have. Not a single cookie came off of the pan. Not a one. I tried spatulas, knives, praying to every entity there is, and you know, nothing was working. And I knew at that moment that like it was over. I broke off a little bit of a cookie, as much as I could get, just to taste it and see, you know, what I was missing. And the taste alone was so bad. It was really, really sweet. It was so sweet in a way where the way I can describe it is it tasted cold. Like the moment it touched my tongue was like, ah, what is that? Like, why is that so sharply cold? I don't know what that is. Is that the fake sugar? I don't know. It didn't have the texture. It didn't have any of the height. They were flat freaking cookies. It was just, they just looked nothing like you would think. They were circles. They were little circles, but that was the closest that they seemed like macaroons at all. And I thought maybe I could just like get all of the shards of cookie up off of the pans and then put them in a bowl and then like put a dollop of the cream in there and kind of just like stir it up and make it like a mush pudding. But it was just so not good. Even the raspberry cream was so purely like fresh raspberry tasting. It didn't have like that incorporation of like sweet raspberry, like what you would think of. It was so weird and it was just not good. It was just really overly, it was too sweet, and it was obviously they weren't macaroons. It was a bowl of mush. As much as I want to be able to try this again because it was really fun, you know, all of the egg whisking and all that stuff was fun. It made me feel like I was really doing something. You know, I definitely feel like the biggest problem was probably the sugar. And that's kind of frustrating because, you know, it's been promoted as this sugar that is like a 1-to-1 ratio, and it's super easy. All you got to do is put in the same amount you would a regular sugar recipe. And so I'm kind of wary of that now, and I wouldn't know what to do in terms of like how much I would need to put in instead. You know, like that's a lot of trial and error for something as like time consuming and getting expensive at that point, kind of baking. So I'm not really sure if I'm gonna try it again anytime soon. I'd love to try it one day into the future with regular sugar, because I feel like, you know, they're freaking good. It'd be fun. By then though, I'll be off of my sugar diet and I can just eat the ones I have at work, I guess. I don't know. But if you have a recipe out there and you know of something that I did not see on the internet with the fake sugar or something, please tell me. Please tell me. I just want to eat a macaroon so bad. So that's the highlight of my week. Obviously it didn't go well, but it was the kind of main sugar event of the week. I'm going to probably stick to making those little Reese's cups, because that is like really surefire, dummy-proof way of getting a little bit of a sweet tooth filling in there. Knock on wood that they don't betray me somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe if you haven't already. And you know, who knows? You might one day see me achieve this macaroon fake sugar goal of mine. Now it's kind of like I will do it. So who knows? Continue watching and maybe we'll find out. Bye y'all.
He mixes it with love and makes the world taste good.